No, no, no. Oh, well, whatever. I'll back it up. Hey, everybody. Let's check to make sure that it's good. Gonna take a quick look at, let's see, at YouTube. Oh, wait, am I blurry? Am I blurry? Let's see. Do I look okay? Do I feel okay? Am I making noise? Do I look okay? Okay. I'm hearing stuff. Does my video look okay, folks? Please let me know. Let's take that down and let's take that down. And I'm going to consider that everything's okay on this part. Okay. Okay. So does my video look okay, folks? Hey, North Carolina. Hey there, North Carolina vinyl picker. Good to see you. Folks, let me know. Does my video look okay? Or am I blurry as hell? Let's find out. And if nothing else is happening, oh, wait a second. My audio's not up to snuff, is it? Let's crank this audio up. There we go. Now my okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, Greg. You look marvelous. All right. Music from a real record. at the end of the side. Come on, let's hear it. Fading in. Yes. This is the hidden groove, the lock groove at the end of my album. You can let this play all night if you want. Free. Atmospheric. Relaxing. Ambient. Or ambient. Ambient. Depending on how you say that word. All right, let's take this off. All right. Except for the impromptu guitar I was putting over it. That was the last track on this album right here by Spudlock. My album, which you can get yourself for the very, very low charge of a $10 download. Now, if you want to have this on vinyl, which, hey, everybody wants that, all you got to do is just buy it for $20 and I'll ship it to you. And you will get the cover, the record, which you just heard, with 10 very strange tunes. You'll get a lovely lyric sheet with all that crap on it. Copious liner notes. Read them. Okay, you had your chance. You read them. Okay, but that's enough. Hey, it's Saturday night. It's 10 p.m. here in the East Coast, 7 on the West Coast, and yes, it's 8 Mountain Time. You're welcome. And we're here. The Diet Coke has already been poured and it's yummy. And we got some great people in the chat room already. North Carolina Vinyl Picker, Greg R., and Thumping the Finger. I'm going to see Primus on Monday night. I'm so excited. Going to go to Blossom Music Center and see Primus. And Coheed and Cambria opening, which I've never really been into that much. Very much a progressive speed metal band. Very, very progressive. But I never really got into them that much. But they have a following. And it's going to be cool that they'll be opening up for Primus. Not completely sure what the main thrust of the set of Primus is going to be this time around. Greatest hits. They're going to do some of their Rush stuff because they did Return to Kings, the Rush album. And where is that? Yeah, I got it there. Whatever. Don't need to pull that out. But news. We got news all over the place. Ugh. So, Rhino Hi-Fi announced their brand new special announcement of the boxed set of ZZ Top albums. The first 5 ZZ Top albums, all done in a box set with a faux leather slipcase, and all mastered by Kevin Gray. And I'm sure they sound absolutely wonderful. And I got a lot of ZZ Top albums. And I haven't always been a ZZ Top fan, but I ended up warming up to them. Because they're good, what can I say? And their stuff is recorded well. And I like their songs. And I'll explain more of that. But Mazzy had this video where he started the video with the story about orchestral maneuvers in the dark and how they inspired ZZ Top in the Eliminator years and stuff like that. And I really thought that 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 really didn't have anything to do with it, because we're talking about the first 5 ZZ Top albums, the London catalog. These albums originally came out on London Records. And the good news is, if you do have some ZZ Top records, you don't want to spend $300 on that hi-fi vinyl set, plus shipping and everything else. All of those records are currently in print in the Warner catalog. And as a matter of fact, I was only missing one record. Excuse me. I was only missing one record in the catalog, and that was ZZ Top's first album. That is of the catalog that I like, and it's available. All 5 of them are in print, and they're all on the Warner Records label. Back around 2020 or 2019, Warner Brothers stopped using the name Warner Brothers because of a very long-standing legal agreement, and they changed the name of the record label to Warner Records. The motion picture, or the movie type. Hey, get out of here! Get out of here! Okay, the movies, Warner Brothers Pictures, they're still around, but the record label is still Warner Records. Let's check that out. There's the cover of ZZ Top's first album. And whereas the new ones are all cut by Kevin Gray, these are cut by Chris Bellman. There's a little CB in the dead wax. I'd like to see Michael Fremer do a video on, is it the artist's intent to do this? But I got this today, and weighed the vinyl. It's over 180 grams. Damn near 200 grams, if you ask me. So that was very cool. So, let's go through the albums. The first album, and I don't yet know why, but it's just weird that Frank Beard's name on a couple of albums is Rube Beard. Don't know why. So, this is the first ZZ Top album. This is one of the ones you get in that Rhino box. Second one is Rio Grande Mud. And I got this used. That's why there's somebody's initials on here. But it is an original. And it is in lovely condition. Check this out. Woo, woo, woo. Rio Grande Mud, ZZ Top on London. That's one of the originals. Okay. The third album, Tres Hombres. Got this as well. And it says right here, Billy Gibbons, Dusty Hill, Rube Beard. I don't know why. This is the album that has been waiting for the bus all day. And Jesus Just Left Chicago, and Beer Drinkers and Hellraisers, and LaGrange. Yes, indeed. Let's see. What does Mowgli say? It says, the complete studio album 1970-1990 box is excellent compared to their earlier 6-pack Abomination. Oh, I'll be talking about that. You peaked. You peaked, dude. All right, let's keep on moving forward here in this ZZ Top thing here. Okay, got Fandango. Fandango, baby. One side live, one side studio, which has the hit Tush. Lord, take me downtown. I'm just looking for some tush. And this record, check out this custom label here. And apparently some lady named Sherry owned this record originally. um, but take a look at a dead wax. It says Sterling and RL. Bob Ludwig mastered this record. So you know what's going to sound good if you got an original and it's in good condition. But if not, like I just said, you can pick up the new remasters on Warner, and those are cut by Chris Bellman. Next up, you know it's messed up. All right. Oh, wait a second. Okay, so there was 1, 2, 3, 4 was Fandango, and then their fifth album was Tejas. And let me pull that one out. Another original London with that beautiful label on it. That's not a Rhino Hi-Fi label. That's an original. Yes, indeed. And all these albums sound really good. They were recorded nicely. And anybody ever see that the documentary that was made about ZZ Top? About how they got their sound? How they would record the guitar and then they'd wind back to record another guitar track over it. But what they would do is in between the first and second takes, they'd just take their fingers and just squeeze the strings just a little bit to put, and they're still in tune, but just a little bit different, and then play the exact same track. And that gave them a certain sound. So, hey, maybe that was good. Good for business. I mean, they sold millions and millions of albums. Arguably. Let's see. Okay, what else you got to say, G-Money? Deguello was a staple at every party in the early 80s. Yeah, baby. And let's see. Hope you're well. Ever get a chance to... I checked them out a little bit, and more to come on that. Okay? All right. Anyway, so that's the first 5 albums. And for you ZZ Top collectors, look what I got. What is this? Is it snack food? No. This is a special gift from the little old band from Texas and London Records. I bought a record collection off of a lady that used to work for a record distributor. And she threw this in. This is from 1976. This is, believe it or not, a jigsaw puzzle of the front cover of the ZZ Top Tejas album. Huh? Amazing. I haven't put this together. I really should someday. But yeah, there is a full ZZ Top jigsaw puzzle in here. Collector's item. All right, so now, not included in the Rhino Hi-Fi ZZ Top box, and there's no reason for it to be, is their first compilation, The Best of ZZ Top. Okay? Single record on London. It's got Tush, Waiting for the Bus, Jesus Just Left Chicago, Francine, Just Got Paid, LaGrange, Blue Jean Blues, Backdoor Love Affair, Beer Drinkers and Hellraisers, and Heard It on the X. Nice little fun compilation if you ever see it around. And it was available for a long time on Warner's. Okay. Now, Mowgli was talking about. Was it Mowgli? Yeah, he was talking about the 10 CD ZZ Top complete studio albums, 1970 to 1990. Okay. At one point in time, there was a 2 record set. No, I'm sorry, a 2 CD set called the ZZ Top 6-pack. Yeah. It contained all 5 of those albums, plus the album El Loco, which was their 7th album. So why would you put their first 5 albums, then put their 7th album in there without putting in the 6th? It was mostly because their 6th album was already available on compact disc. Anyway, yeah, you're right. That was a 3 CD set. 2 albums per disc. You are correct, Mowgli. Sorry about that. Anyway, so they put out this, and almost all of the tracks on the first 5 albums, they completely remixed them. For what reasons of updating? They said they were digitally remixed from the original tapes. Yeah, they were the original tapes, but they changed the levels on stuff, made strange panning decisions for the drums. They had gated reverbs because, hey, Phil Collins is making a lot of money with gated reverbs. Why don't we do it? And the reverbs are all different, and it was terrible. Now, if you ever see this thing here, ZZ Top Greatest Hits, and you want to laugh, pick this up for cheap if you like see it in Goodwill or something like that, or you see it used, and you'll be able to get an example of the remixed versions that were on that ZZ Top 6-pack. Or if you see somebody throwing out the ZZ Top 6-pack, pick it up and you'll be able to get yourself a big laugh. So, man, that was weird. Thankfully, those Rhino Hi-Fi versions are the original tapes. It's interesting that Mazzy was showing the special liner notes that come with each disc in the Hi-Fi box. And these Rhino Hi-Fis have been typically showing both sides of the tape box of at least one side. Here, let me grab my Devo Freedom of Choice and I'll show you an example. Where it be? Devo! Okay. All right, so let me go in here and pull out. Yeah, every Rhino Hi-Fi has a little insert where they've got the tape boxes. Okay. Now, if you take a look real close up here, it's got the date 3/31/80 that this was cataloged. Okay, and it's got the Warner Brothers Records logo here, and all the specs, etc., etc. Okay, very similar to what's inside of the Rhino Hi-Fi box, but the it's like the full size with the Warner Brothers logo, and the date on here is a date that's after ZZ Top was signed to Warner Brothers, and all those records moved over to Warner Brothers. Okay, and the catalog number that was listed was the catalog number for all of the reissues that came out on Warner Brothers at that time. Started with BSK and then had the rest of that. But on the flip side of the liner notes that Mazzy showed, it looked like it was the actual mastering notes for the original London Records tape. So I'm pretty sure that Rhino is being on the level, that all these records in that box are cut from the original master tapes, not a copy. I just thought that was confusing when Mazzy showed it. Anyway, so in 1977, ZZ Top signed to Warner Brothers. I'm sorry, 1979. They signed to Warner Brothers. And this thing came out. Let me pull it out of the plastic here. See, a little bit easier now. So this was the first album from ZZ Top on Warner Brothers as delivered to media outlets. I was a journalist at the time. And inside was the brand new album, Deguello. And all the songs. And inside even further had the boys in the band, little old band from Texas, playing saxophones at the Lone Wolf Horns. And they really did play it, because it says right here, Billy Gibbons on vocals, guitar, and bari sax, Dusty Hill on vocals, bass, and tenor sax, and Frank Beard on drums, percussion, and alto sax. Very cool. So, this album was produced like all their other ones by Bill Ham, and the lacquer was cut by Bob Ludwig. Now, I told you that went to media outlets. I was a journalist. I was writing for Scene magazine, and I got that for free. And on December 27th, December 20th of 1979, a review was published in Scene magazine in Cleveland. And it was written by me. I was all of 20 years old. Deeply steeped in prog rock and Frank Zappa music, and that's kind of like all I really wanted to hear. But this is the review I wrote back in 1979. And I quote, "I can't stand ZZ Top. They annoy me. I have put up with repeated playings of Tush and LaGrange long enough. I don't even care if this is their first new album in 3 years. I don't like them, so I don't want to hear it. But I do listen to the radio. And stations are apt to play new records every once in a while, especially when it's an established act like ZZ Top. And this song from Deguello comes on, called Manic Mechanic. It's the last song on side 1 of Deguello. And I loved it. I said, hey, this is good. What is that? And then I heard Cheap Sunglasses, and I heard Fool for Your Stockings, the former of which is a fast-catching FM hit. And then I heard their version of I Thank You, which is the first track on the album. These also sustained my attention. I decided to break down and listen to the whole album. For the first time, I actually like a ZZ Top album. My friends are phoning and recommending physicians and therapists. This record is the best thing the band has ever done, musically, lyrically, sonically. A possible reason for the high-fidelity surge is the length of the time on the record as a whole, which is barely over 30 minutes. Now, for an $8.98 $8.98 list price. That may sound a little bit fishy. Remember, this is 1979. Records were a hell of a lot cheaper back then. So, but if you're pondering the purchase and are a little bit leery of the extra buck, rest assured the entire album's really good. So, no longer will I beef about ZZ Top's new records. Unless, of course, they start coming out again with stuff that I can't stand. And there's my name right there, Bill Camerata. All of 20 years old. And in time, I came to appreciate the back catalog of ZZ Top. I was really digging it. I mean, I now have El Loco. And I also have Eliminator. Still in a shrink, too. So, that's that. So, if you don't have any ZZ Top records and you got that cash or you got that credit card just twitching in your back pocket, go ahead and pick them up. They're good. They're good. I'm not going to buy them because I got all of these. And if you're missing a couple, remember they are all in print with Chris Bellman cuts, so you know they're going to sound pretty good. So that is what I have to say about ZZ Top. Let's catch up with what's going on in the chat room. Mowgli knows his shit about ZZ Top, man. He's going in here. Let's see. The 3 CD set had a great booklet, but that's it. You've been collecting for a while. Yeah. And Deguello means no quarter. Yep. And Greg says, I bought the Rhino Hi-Fi Cars Candy-O and Yes Relayer, and the packaging was trashed, but Rhino was great about it. They sent me a prepaid return label and sent out replacements as soon as I shipped. That's very nice. I've heard a lot of good things about the Cars Candy-O. I bought the Cars' first album. Listen to that again, and man, it just blows me away. So, yeah, they're doing a really good job with the Rhino Hi-Fis. Let's see. Uh-oh. Off topic, but I just discovered Guided by Voices. I'm digging their vibe. Oh boy. Get set, Paul. Watch out. You want to know why? Because Guided by Voices has a gazillion albums out. Plus, if you start getting into Robert Pollard, the main songwriter and singer of Guided by Voices, and all of the albums that he's done and the different acts that he's had, you will have to buy over 100 albums if you want the entire discography. Guided by Voices is a very deep rabbit hole indeed. Let me show you what I have by them. I'm just going to run over here. Let's see. There's F, G, or G, U. Here we go. All right. I also have a couple records by his progressive band, which is called Circus Devils. And I do have, I believe, a Robert Pollard solo album. But here are my Guided by Voices records. There is B1000, one of their best. This is fantastic. By the way, there was a reissue of this album, B1000, that they did in conjunction with a beer company. And you could buy a special package where you got a case of this beer, which was 6 750 milliliter bottles of this special beer that was that was brewed and inspired by Guided by Voices. It had 10 different hops, 10 different grains, 10 different types of malt, and you multiply 10 times 10 times 10, and you got 1,000. The beer was called Beer 1000, and it was 10% alcohol. Now, you'd think this would either be a very strong tasting beer or a beer that would knock you on your butt when you drank it. But it was a lager, and it was a real smooth tasting lager. It was a great beer. I wish they still made it. But yeah, it was called Beer 1000 in commemoration with this. Okay, next we've got the very first Guided by Voices album I ever picked up, which is Alien Lanes. I got this at Goodwill for like $2, and it's in mint condition. I don't know why they just tossed it in there, but very interesting. This is my introduction to Guided by Voices, and I bought a few other albums. Class Clown Spots a UFO. I think I also bought a couple of their 7-inch singles off of that album. We've got English Little League. And I've also got Motivational Jumpsuit. This is a good one. I recommend this one. It's not bad at all. Let's see here. Cool Planet by Guided by Voices. And let's see. And that's it. Those are all of the Guided by Voices albums I have. And that's just scratching the surface of this band. They got so many records out. It's ridiculous. All right. Let's see here. Uh-oh. More ZZ Top. Blue Jean Blues was the flip side of Tush on a jukebox at Mission Beach, San Diego. I always played it instead of Tush, and the locals appreciated it. It got me in with the cool kids. Nice. Very nice. Very nice. Ah. Panorama's your favorite Cars album. Oh, cool. Yeah. I like them all, but I do have a soft spot in my heart for Panorama. I also like some of the weirder parts on Candy O. And it was also weird that at one point in time, the Cars were formed without Rick Ocasek, and they had Todd Rundgren in the lead singer spot. They called the band the New Cars. They recorded just a couple of songs, put out an EP. Then they went on tour, and just a couple of gigs into the tour, they had an accident with the tour bus, and Elliot Easton broke his clavicle. So they had to junk the tour, and they junked that project. Then, I think about a year or two later, the original Cars, sans Ben Orr, of course, got back together and made the album. What was the name of it? They had one last album. I forget what the name of it was, but it was pretty good. Wait a sec. I can find out what the name of that album is. Let me just do this here. Let's see. Do not adjust your set. Okay. The Cars. Move Like This. That was the name of the last Cars album. Move Like This. Paul beat me to it. Thanks a lot. All right. So, next up on our cavalcade of news, Jack White put out a new album. I started hearing this stuff about a week ago. I mean, this is his 6th album. It's called No Name. So what was happening is that on July 19th, Third Man Records started including a free 12-inch vinyl record with all purchases made at the Third Man Record stores, which were in Detroit, London, and Nashville, without offering customers any details about the record. It just had a label that said No Name on it and a blank white jacket that said number 1 on it. Employees at the locations were also not briefed about the record's contents. only being instructed by management to include it free with every purchase made that day. It was also sent out at random to Third Man Vault record customers. And the actual release of the album was supposed to be yesterday, but I guess it sold out really quickly. They're pressing more. I haven't heard it. I know it's available for streaming, but that's a very cool thing. You never know what to expect of Jack White, so very happy to hear about that. Uh-oh. We've got our Chief Dancing Ostrich, our Quantum Leap fan. Good old Janice. Hello, Janice. How are you? I wish thunderstorms never existed. The sky hates me so much. It brings this to torment me out of my mind. I am deeply and evilly cursed with this mess. Sorry about that. Yeah, thunderstorms can be evil. But I hope that you are safe and okay and get a chance to watch the rest of the live stream. Good to have you here, by the way. So very interesting about that, Jack White. Was supposed to have the Ween reissue of Chocolate and Cheese by now. Got an email saying that my copy is going to be delayed about 10 days. Not too happy about that, but good things come to those who wait. Also heard about, if you're interested in some weird music, and I hope Kevin Hart's out there, Kevin S. Hart, good friend in Wyoming, because he probably knows something about this. There was a record on John Fahey's Tacoma label that was called The Psychedelic Saxophone of Charlie Nothing in Eternity with Brother Frederick. Okay? So, what this was, and I'm reading from a press release here, Charles Martin Simon was an aspiring writer whose artist wife died in 1965. When he tried to pick up the torch and become an artist using her art supplies, he was, in his words, reduced to nothing, and thus created an alter ego, or a psyche fragmentation, and he called himself Charlie Nothing. Under that moniker, he became most famous for creating dingulators, working guitar sculptures made from parts of American cars. And in 1967, he recorded The Psychedelic Saxophone of Charlie Nothing in Eternity with Brother Frederick. This is an album consisting of nothing but 2 side-long pieces, all saxophone improvisations accompanied with gong, tabla, and ukulele. It's on YouTube. It's weird, but it's kind of great. Its cover was adorned by Charlie Nothing's only hand-drawn art. This record has since become not only something of a secret handshake among among free jazz fans, but also a classic of outsider art, fitting right next to your Moondog records, if not in sound rather than spirit. But this is the first reissue of this. It's come out on the Real Gone Music label. They're offering colored vinyl variants and also a wax mage press. So that means it's being pressed by Gotta Groove in Cleveland. Yeah. So check that out on the Real Gone Music website. I also found when I was researching this a recording by Charlie Nothing that was trying to remember what it was. He explained a dingulator at the beginning, and then you hear what sounds like a very poorly strung acoustic guitar with its strings tuned way, way, way down. That is also available on YouTube to stream. So very, very tempted to pick up this Charlie Nothing reissue just because it's weird. And you know, I love weird stuff. Oh, good to see you, Kevin. Good to see you. Good to see you. By the way, Roman is in the house. It's just that right now, his other screens, his iPad and his PlayStation, are a much higher priority. So if he feels like coming in, he'll be coming in. But yeah, I don't know. Let's see. I am also currently listening to another one of those Bob Lefsetz podcasts. And this one is of Patrick Leonard. Now, if you know who Patrick Leonard is, good for you. He is a musician, keyboard player, and he played keyboards on the Jacksons' Victory Tour. He also composed and produced several albums with Madonna. He's recorded and produced albums for Elton John. And also, he produced the last few of Leonard Cohen's albums when Leonard Cohen came back and started making records on a regular basis again. And I think you're talking about the Charlie Nothing Dingulator stuff. Yeah, reminds you a little bit of Jandek. Very good. But Patrick Leonard has worked with everybody. Well, not everybody, just a lot of people. He's worked with both David Gilmour and Roger Waters. He helped Roger Waters with the Amused to Death album. He produced the Bête Noire album for Brian Ferry. He's worked with Julian Lennon, Rod Stewart, Fleetwood Mac, Jeff Beck, Peter Cetera, Jewel, Blue October, Michael W. Smith, Marianne Faithfull, Robbie Robertson. He also did an album called Toy Matinee with Kevin Gilbert, and he did an album called Third Matinee with Richard Page. And those were albums where he could do anything he wanted to because in his years with Madonna, he made so much money for Warner Brothers. They just basically came up to him and said, "You can do what you want. You want an office? What do you want?" He says, "I just want to make my own records." So they let him, and those came out. Now, I haven't listened to the Toy Matinee or the Third Matinee album, but I want to now. Anyway, taking all of that into consideration, Patrick Leonard is a huge progressive rock fan. In this interview, and I strongly say check it out, he talks about how big of a Jethro Tull fan he was. His two favorite Tull albums, I believe, were Stand Up and Thick as a Brick, which are two unbelievably great albums. And then he talks about other bands that he was crazy about include Gentle Giant. He got to see Jimi Hendrix when he was a kid because of his sister. He got to see several of Led Zeppelin's early U.S. concerts. He's just done stuff all over the place, but he's never ever put out a solo album. Now, just released very recently, and they're going to start shipping soon, is an album called It All Comes Down to Mood. And that title was given to him by Leonard Cohen. And if you listen to this podcast, the Bob Lefsetz podcast, Lefsetz, and listen to the Patrick Leonard episode, which is out now, it's brand new, he'll explain all that. And he talks a lot about, I mean, the whole biography goes through, and it's great stuff. And I've known about this record coming out for some time because Michael Fremer's been teasing it on his videos. He's been talking about this Patrick Leonard album, and he says Martin Barr and Ian Anderson from Jethro Tull both play on it. Well, it seems that yes, they do both play on the album, but on two different tracks, and one did not know of the other's presence on the album, because if you follow things, you know that Martin Barr and Ian Anderson aren't in the same band anymore. They're kind of on the outs, but it's kind of funny that they're on this album. Anyway, I that is available on Spotify to listen to if you want to check it out. First time I listened to it, I was really put off by the vocals because he's like 68, 69 years old, and he's not a great singer. He 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 kind of talk sings, and you got to get used to that. So I streamed a little bit of it a few days ago, streamed it again tonight, and I'm starting to really get into it. And the music, it's it's progressive, it's contemporary. I mean, it's multi-genre stuff, and there's some stuff that sounds contemporary country, but more rooted in old bluegrass type stuff, not contemporary country where it sounds like a bad 80s band with a fiddle. So I would definitely check that out. It's called It All Comes Down to Mood, and it's by Patrick Leonard. It may surprise you if you are into adventurous music. So now I got to buy that album. So that's pretty much what's been going on. Anything else new with you folks? You know what? This is so weird. I wear my Apple Watch, and then I keep my iPhone in my pocket on this side. And anytime that I bring my Apple Watch next to my phone, it does this thing. Let's see, where is it? I think there's this thing where if you bring your Apple Watch, or if you take an Apple Watch and put it up close to an iPhone, it will start buzzing, and you can exchange information with it. Of course, now that I don't want it to do it, it's not doing it. But as soon as I stick it in my pocket and relax my arm on my leg, it's been doing it repeatedly throughout this show. Now it's not going to do it. You bastard! Anyway, look it up. I do not lie. So, once again, I'm going to be going to see Primus on Monday at Blossom Music Center. Ooh, very nice. You got the Fred Frith Speechless LP. Yeah, that's great. It's I like a lot of Fred Frith stuff. Check him out with Henry Cow, and I've talked about the guitar solos records that he's done before. That's very very nice. Oh, what else is going on? No other new records this week. Oh, I know what I want to talk about. I got myself into an argument on Facebook. All right. Let me pull this up and read it to you. Somebody wrote in the Other Vinyl Record Collectors Club on Facebook. So I bought the recent reissue of Steely Dan's Asia. It would get hung up on a certain spot on the album. I took it back to the record store, and they nicely traded it for another copy. So I get it home, and no shit, It hangs up in the exact same spot. Now, I thought it might be my needle, but no other albums are doing it. WTF? And somebody comes up and says, yeah, I had 3 consecutive copies with all the same skip issue. One was even from a different vendor, LOL. That's got to be a bad plate, no? Fortunately, I've only seen that once in 30 years. And then somebody else said, you know, there comes a time to have stereo needles checked because they are known to wear down from using the turntable a lot. And he didn't say much more than that. So I responded to him and I said, I would check the alignment on your cartridge. Can you play it on another system that you consider mid to high end and compare to playback? Did you play it back at the store? And what combination of turntable and cartridge are you using? Trying to help the guy out. And then somebody else writes back, if it skips in the same place on 2 copies, I doubt if it's the cart or the stylus. In fact, I can pretty much guarantee it. Okay. So I say, all right, fine, no problem. Prove it by playing it on somebody else's system. If your cart is out of proper alignment and or your stylus is worn, it'll skip in the same place no matter how many copies you bring home. And then the guy comes back and says, oh, please, think about that statement for a minute. I don't have to think about it for a minute, I wrote. I said, I have over 50 years experience in situations like this. I mean, you insist the record is defective, yet you won't try the record on another system or divulge what kind of equipment you're playing it on. I've worked in record stores. I've sold hi-fi for a living. I've even released an album of my own music. And I know about record mastering and record plating and record manufacturing and tracking and all that other fun stuff. I'm simply trying to give you a couple of helpful suggestions so that you can solve your problem. Now, if you don't want to listen to my suggestions, then I wish you well and hope that you can solve your problem. Have a great day. So, somebody else jumps in and says, craft record pressing is the problem. The outer edge and the leading groove is a shark tooth. It jumps up and down on a jagged edge. It isn't the first craft pressing that I have purchased of a reissue that was like this. You can't even start the record without it catching the needle on this horrible mess. Now, I grew up in a home with a father that had all records from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. I'm 47 years old, and I am no stranger to records. Okay, yeah, fine. And then the guy who was originally arguing with me says, it ain't my record, so I can't try it on another turntable. What? Not the store's turntable? Oh, okay. I'm acquainted with one person with the system now, and not even friends. But if 2 records skip in the same place, can you really believe it's the turntable? So I said, it can be. But as far as I know, Kraft Records does not manufacture the Asia reissue. Kraft Records is a label. And they are not a pressing plant. Now, Universal uses several pressing plants all around the world. They use Optimal, they use GZ, they use Furnace, they use Memphis record pressing, all sorts of them. But you never know. So, that's the end of my Facebook talking about this whole thing. And I've got 2 stories. The very first pressing that I ever bought of One Size Fits All by Frank Zappa and the Mothers. On the song Inca Roads, right after the guitar solo where it goes da 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 da, and it goes on. There was a skip in that. And for some strange reason, I thought that that was how it was supposed to go. And I lived with it for years until I got a better turntable and a better cartridge. Then I heard the song the way it should be, with the same copy. This is my original purchased copy of One Size Fits All from 1975. A more recent study. There's a record that was put out from Blue Note on their Tone Poets series. Talked about this before, I think about a year ago, called Picture of Heath by Chet Baker, Art Pepper, and Phil Urso. This is a really cool record, and I believe this is mono as well. Yeah, high fidelity. But this record's cut hot. So hot that there's this one track where it started skipping on people's record players. Turntables. Sorry about that, Ray. And people were taking them back to the store, sending them back to Amazon or whoever sold it to them, saying, this record's defective, it skips. And they're saying, no, this is just, this is a hi-fi record. It's cut with hi-fis in mind. If you really wanted to hear this record properly, you have to check the alignment on your cartridge or upgrade your cartridge or clean your stylus or upgrade your stylus or something. It's not this record. And I heard about that and I thought, oh, great, I can't wait for this record to arrive. It came, doesn't skip on my system. It plays through wonderfully. But I can tell in that one track, it gets really loud and it gets close to skipping. But it doesn't. It sounds great because it's cut well and I'm playing it on a high fidelity system. So, folks, if you have trouble with your records, ask people and be receptive to people who are sincerely trying to help you. That's kind of all I want to say about it. Let's see. Yes. Ooh, you saw the Primus Tales from the Punch Bowl tour. That's nice. Well, I've seen Primus a few times, and this will probably be the last time I see them, unless they've come out with a new album. It doesn't look like it's going to happen soon. Let's see. Ooh, you're going to go see Dweezil on the 12th. I'm going to see him on the 17th, which is a Saturday night or Friday. Saturday night, yeah. They'll be playing the Cleveland Agora. I can't wait. So, that is everything that's happening. I'm going to play just a little bit more Spudlock to get us out of here. It's been a whole hour. I will most likely see you next Saturday, and we'll talk some more. We'll have some more fun. If something happens between now and then, well, we'll talk about it. But I had a great time. I hope you did too. Please hit the like button. It's right there. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already, please. Tell your friends about it. Please go on to Bandcamp and buy this album by Spudlock. Go to spudlock.bandcamp.com so that you can buy that lovely thing. So, all right, let's pick another track. Let's go to, let's see. First one on side 2. Good night, folks. I appreciate you. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you next week.
Deck is God. Deck is God. Deck is God. Deck is God.
Lived in my analog radio dial. I came across a station with my while. The DJ's name is Evan Ford. Playing strangeness, someone dared to record. WC on a show lasting 1 a.m. to 3. Heaven tells us we're about to hear God, and through the grooves we're about to glide. The man's name is John Deck. Label he's on, more than 15 records he has done. All of them are very plain, all of them sound quite the same. From his basement he presses them out, shrieking guitar and shrill shout. He sends out promos and hopes records go, but he never gets played on radio. The man's name is John Duck.